Hey, welcome back, everyone, to The Real Money Pros. I'm your host, Nick Daniels. Today, we're going to talk about the top 5 Social Security misconceptions that you're not buying into those same untruths as everyone else is. Go to our website, therealmoneypros.com, click on the Ask the Experts feature. Sends myself and the entire team your financial questions. We want you to be making awesome financial decisions based on factual information. So I have my partner in, we don't do crime here, my partner in advising, Alexandra Lundgren. She is our resident Social Security expert. Let's dive into this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of misconceptions around Social Security, but there are 5 very, very common ones, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. We've got them listed out, and we're gonna go back and forth, and you're gonna give us the truth, okay?
Okay,
So here's the first misconception. When I call the Social Security office, they're gonna give me personalized advice, aren't they?
Absolutely not. In fact, legally, they are not allowed to. And
Say that again?
Legally,
Legally.
they are not allowed to advise you on what you should do for filing. They can answer all your questions, although sometimes the information's incorrect. I've had a couple of people been told some things that were incorrect, and so had to go back and talk to a different person and get the right answer, or I let them know what it was and we went and took care of things. Because you don't know. That person on the other end of that line, this could be their first day, or they could have been there 20 years. So you just don't know. And they're doing the best they can. There are 2,700 laws governing Social Security and how you file and how it's paid out. 2,700. So that's a lot to ask of somebody to just even answer questions, let alone advise you. So most people make a phone call, think they'll get advice there, and maybe have talked to their neighbors or their friends. And that's the max advice they have going into it.
Right. And, initially you might be frustrated thinking, well, why can't they give me advice? But put yourself in their shoes. They're not going to know every detail about your life.
Nope. Right?
They're not going to know additional resources that you have, assets available to you, plans that you've made with your family, anything like that. So they can't advise. They're only going to answer the questions you ask. And if you're not asking the right questions because you don't even know the right questions to ask, you're definitely not going to get the right answers. So
correct.
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. And then as part of that, there's a lot of times people go into it with this, I talked to a person and they said I should just start as early as possible and invest the money because then I can have it grow. So that's not really personalized advice either.
No.
So
okay.
Just keep that in mind.
All right. Second, I'm probably only going to live until I'm like 78 or 80 tops.
Yeah. Well, and actually, you're giving me a much better number than most people come in with. Most people, when they look at Social Security and filing and they talk about this break-even point, most people underestimate their life expectancy by between 5 and 10 years.
5 to 10 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time, especially when you're relying upon this. Let's face it, Social Security is a pension. You're relying on a fixed amount coming in every single month to help you make it. I wouldn't want to err and take it too early and have a small amount still having to help me with those next 5 to 10 years that I didn't anticipate.
Yeah, and it's really important when making this decision to remember to look at Social Security as a pension. You get these checks for the rest of your life. And if you file at 70 instead of 62, there is a 76% difference in the amount of the check. It is 76% larger. So when it's only $100 a month, well, for that difference, and then the next one and the next one times how many months in an extra 10 years of your life and the cost of living adjustments, we're talking significant dollars.
Yeah.
The other thing to keep in mind is that women have like a 72% chance of reaching age 80, and they have a 37% chance of being 90.
Okay.
Men's percentages aren't quite as high, but they're still pretty good. It's still, a good 62% to hit 80 and 21% to hit 90. And as a couple, that one of you will live to age 90 is a 47% chance.
So, I mean, if we're going to sum that up, the odds of either spouse hitting 80 is actually really, really high.
89%.
You're more likely to hit 80 than not.
Right. 89% chance in a couple.
Yeah, okay. So the third misconception, we have it written like this for our notes, not considering the impact of a survivor's benefit. I would say most people don't even know there is such thing as a survivor's benefit.
Yeah. And this is especially important with married couples because it comes back to the situation that the surviving spouse is going to get the larger of the two checks. Well, that sounds really great until you are in a situation where both checks is what it takes to meet your bills, and then suddenly you don't have one of them. Or if you take it early and your check is smaller. So back to that, if it's only $200 difference a month, well, maybe they've lost a $1,400 check. Right? So that $200 extra makes a big difference. And $200 a month over a 10-year time frame, that's an extra $24,000 in the budget. That's a lot.
That is a lot. And don't forget, you're probably going to get a cost of living increase on that as they're issued.
Correct.
So we're really looking at more than $24,000.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about this thing called the earnings test? I mean, once I file for Social Security, it's set. It's going to come in and I can go out and get another job or whatever, and everything's going to be fine, right?
Yeah, or just keep working and turn it on, right?
Right.
So depending on how much you make, if you are under full retirement age, they will reduce the benefit if you make over a certain amount. So if you make over $21,240 this year and you're under full retirement age, they will reduce your benefit for every amount over that you make. So for every $2 over that amount, they'll reduce your benefit by $1. So if you're going to keep working, it may not make sense to start yet. Why not just wait and let the benefit increase? Because if you take it early, that's 6% a year that you're going to increase your benefit guaranteed just by waiting.
It's pretty challenging to beat a guaranteed 6% rate of return up until you reach full retirement age. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought after FRA, if you continue to delay filing, don't you get an 8% increase?
It is 8% at that point. And once you hit full retirement age, they don't care how much money you earn. You can earn money and it won't reduce your benefits. So if you want to start taking it, then you can, but that 8% increase is pretty great too.
Yeah. I mean, obviously a lot of factors play into that. Do you like your job? Do you have the health? Do you need the income, right?
Right.
Or are your income needs requiring you to still keep working at that? So many factors play into that, but we definitely want to make sure that as a listener or viewer, there is an earnings test on your Social Security.
And this is truly earnings. So W-2 wages are self-employment earnings, things that you pay Social Security on. It's not withdrawals from IRAs or dividends, things that way.
All right. Glad we cleared that up. Okay, let's look at this last one that we have here today. Number 5, the fifth most common misconception. My Social Security is not going to be taxed at the federal level, right? I mean, the IRS isn't going to take taxes out of my Social Security. That money's already been taxed, right?
Nope. That's not how it works, unfortunately. So most states do not tax Social Security. There are 12 that do currently. And they are not always the ones you'd think they are, which is funny. But at the federal level, it depends it's called your combined income is, how much of it may be taxable. So there's a threshold where up to 50% may be taxable, and then another one where it may be up to 85% of it is taxable federally as income.
That seems like government robbery. 50%, and then another threshold where up to 85% of your Social Security income
is taxed.
Could be taxed.
Correct.
And it just all depends on basically the combined household income. Correct?
So it's your adjusted gross income.
Okay.
Plus half of Social Security.
Okay.
And any tax-exempt interest. That's what your combined income is for this calculation.
Now, I think we've talked about this before, but aren't those income levels that we're talking about, they haven't been changed since the 80s?
So the first one, the 50%, went into place in 1983, and it has not changed since then for inflation, correct. The one for 85 went in the 90s, and it also has not been changed since it was put in place. So they're really low dollar amounts.
Yeah, see, that's Boy, there's so many things about Social Security that just light a fire in me, right? Because we see people every day that really depend on it.
Right.
They really, really need it. We see poor planning around it, right? Sometimes people come to us too late, so there's nothing more that we can do, but we realize, boy, had they sat down with us, had they had some better planning, had they addressed these misconceptions,
Yes.
right, they could be in a much better scenario for them. But the other thing that lights a fire under me is just like our legislators, Washington is actually not addressing some of the critical things that need to be addressed in order to help people right now. I mean, forget about the terms insolvency sometime in the 2030s or anything like that. Like, can people get by on $40-some thousand today like they could in the 80s? No. It's a totally different playing field.
Yeah.
So why haven't they changed those income thresholds? That seems like low-hanging fruit that Washington could address quickly.
I agree. Yeah. The one piece of good news is that the taxation on Social Security, those specific dollars do go back into the Social Security Trust specifically. Maybe that's good news. But I
guess it helps ease the pain a little bit, but
no, it's still, I think the dollar values are too low. That's my personal opinion as well.
Okay. Now, I want to round this out. We're rounded third. We're coming home, but a little bonus content here. You mentioned something earlier about like the idea, well, I'll just take Social Security early, even though I don't really need it, and I'll just invest it. I'll just take that and I'll reinvest it.
Right.
Is that a good strategy or not?
Not really. And
Why
it comes
is that?
back to that guaranteed increase in the payment amount that you were talking about. So full retirement age, it's that 6% a year. And then post, it's that 8% a year. And when you look at that increase, plus the fact that those increased payments, once they do start, will have cost of living adjustments on them, you're talking a significant amount of investment growth that you're going to have to get to replace those payments that is not guaranteed.
Plus, you might be challenged as to where you could take that Social Security that's coming to you as income. You might be challenged as far as what kind of account title you could put that money into.
Yep.
You might actually be looking at double taxation.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's not the best idea to
really
take
not.
it early and invest it and try to get better growth than what you would than what you're guaranteed. Cost of living increases plus that 6% every year up to full retirement age.
Yes.
Very good. Well, there you have it, everyone. Those are the 5 most common Social Security misconceptions that we see day in and day out. You have one shot to do it right.
Yeah.
And then you're locked in, all right? So anyways, make a wise decision, make the best decision for you. Again, it's therealmoneypros.com, the Ask the Experts feature, and we'll help you answer your Social Security questions. All right. Alex, thanks so much for being here today.
You bet. Thanks.
All right. And thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you again next time.